140 hours. That's how much tape 50 Cent claims he has on Diddy. And if even 5 minutes includes witness tampering, jury talk, or legal strategy, Diddy's lawyers aren't just out of a job. They're part of the crime scene. Today, we're pulling apart the twisted puzzle from Anthony Ricco's sudden exit to Diddy's shocking betrayal to how these tapes could destroy every lawyer still on the case. Do you think Diddy secretly recording his legal team makes them victims or co-conspirators? Drop a comment if you think someone's about to be sanctioned. 140 hours. That's how much footage 50 Cent says he got his hands on. 140 hours of unfiltered, unsanctioned, possibly illegal recordings of Diddy's private life and legal discussions. And if you're wondering how this connects to the lawyers panicking in real time, buckle up, because this isn't just PR disaster, it's potential career-ending territory. 140 hours means Diddy wasn't filming for a few days. He was surveilling everything. That changes the game. One hidden camera could dismantle an entire legal team. If those tapes include confidential attorney-client strategy or ABA violations, every lawyer in that room isn't just compromised. They're part of the evidence. Picture this. It's April 2024. Diddy's at the height of denial. The public's still buying the narrative. But behind closed doors, Anthony Ricco, one of Diddy's sharpest federal defense attorneys, files a motion to withdraw. No press conference, no warning, just a quiet exit and one cryptic line in the court doc. I cannot offer effective counsel under ABA standards. He saw the iceberg before it hit. Rico knew something was dangerously off and got out fast. While the media laughed it off as emotional burnout, Rico may have been the only one who realized he was sitting on a legal time bomb. Now, it looks like he was right. Why was Mark Agnifilo so quiet for weeks, then suddenly furious? When the Netflix doc showed Diddy secretly recorded one of his lawyers, the article was laced with one strategic word: betrayal. Not inconvenience, not surprise, betrayal. That wasn't PR spin, it was legal panic. Agnifilo's fury wasn't about being caught on tape in general. It was about what could be on that tape, who else was in the room, and how far the damage might reach. If privilege was violated, Agnifilo isn't just a lawyer, he's a witness. The second he learned he might be on tape, he went from defense counsel to potential evidentiary liability. Remember when Rico said he couldn't ethically continue? That cryptic ABA reference flew over most people's heads. But now the pieces fit. If even one of these 140 hours shows attorneys discussing witness strategy, leaking juror insight, or reacting emotionally to damning evidence, Rico's warning becomes prophecy. What looked like lawyer drama was really an emergency exit. Ethical landmines are now buried in 140 hours of footage. If Rico's voice is on those tapes, or if he knew tapes were rolling, his withdrawal was an act of legal self-preservation, not emotion. He ran because he saw the fire before anyone else smelled the smoke. Let's do the math. 3 days of filming equals 72 hours maximum. So how is there 140 hours of footage? Someone's lying. Diddy's camp has been pushing the freelancer with a camera narrative, claiming it was just for a quick documentary shoot. But now, that story collapses under its own numbers. 140 hours doesn't come from 3 days. It comes from months, maybe even years of hidden surveillance. If that footage spans multiple locations and dates, that means Diddy recorded knowingly and habitually. It wasn't accidental, it was systematic. Diddy may have turned his lawyers into future witnesses. If prosecutors obtained that footage, the same people meant to defend him could be subpoenaed against him in court, on record, under oath. The second your client tapes you, you're no longer their lawyer, you're their liability. That quote from a former ethics professor sums up the mess Diddy's dream team is facing. Mark Agnifilo, Brian Steele, Nicole Westmoreland, Xavier Donaldson, these aren't rookies. They've defended mobsters, high-level federal cases, and political elites, but none of them signed up to walk blindfolded through a minefield of 140 hours of potential evidence. The lawyers were strategizing, but Diddy was documenting. If any of them is caught discussing improper tactics, even as a joke, it's over. Not just for the case, for their careers. I remember when Rico quit and Diddy's camp clowned him. TMZ ran with the spin. He felt left out. He was emotional, like he was some groupie upset he wasn't backstage at a concert. But now, that smear campaign looks different, because if the 50 Cent tapes cover the full timeline, and if even a portion of that includes recorded legal strategy, Rico isn't the emotional one. He's the one who refused to be recorded committing a crime. He didn't melt down. He opted out. Rico left before the tapes were leaked, before the Netflix doc, before the betrayal headlines. The man escaped what the rest may now have to answer for, under oath. Here's the nightmare scenario nobody saw coming. Diddy's legal team may have to testify against him. That's right. If even one lawyer is heard on tape reacting to illegal strategy or appearing complicit, the DOJ can subpoena them. And it gets worse. That destroys client privilege, disqualifies them from further representation, and forces them into an impossible role: witness, not warrior. From dream team to defense disaster. If prosecutors flip even one of these lawyers into cooperating to avoid disbarment, it'll be open season. And Diddy, he'll be all alone. Diddy's team keeps insisting that all this came from a 3-day freelance documentary shoot. But let's call that what it is: spin. First, 3 days doesn't equal 140 hours. That's not even math. It's basic timekeeping. Second, a freelancer doesn't get 2 years of unrestricted access, private crisis meetings, or sealed legal strategy. You don't get federal level wiretap content from a guy with a cannon and a tote bag. The freelancer story was covered for long-term surveillance. That false timeline was crafted to downplay what Diddy really did: weaponize documentation. And now it's backfiring hard. Imagine being one of the most respected criminal defense attorneys in the country and realizing you may have been secretly recorded by your client during a crisis meeting. That's Mark Agnifilo right now. We haven't heard a word from him since that TMZ betrayal piece dropped. And make no mistake, that silence isn't dignified strategy, it's controlled panic, because Mark doesn't know what was captured or who has copies. Silence is no longer protection, it's self-preservation. Whether it's Netflix, 50 Cent, or federal investigators, Mark knows he may be on tape saying something he can never take back. Let's be clear, disbarment isn't even the worst case scenario here. If the tapes show attorneys involved in witness discussions, evidence concealment, or anything that resembles obstruction, we're talking felony exposure, not career-ending, life-altering. Even offhand comments like, "we'll spin it this way," or "just keep that quiet for now," can be interpreted as intent to mislead the court. If any of these lawyers are heard crossing the ethical line, even once, it's not a courtroom battle anymore. It's an investigation. Here's the terrifying possibility Diddy's team can't say out loud. The DOJ may already have the tapes. Between sealed search warrants, quiet subpoenas, and leaks tied to cooperating witnesses, the idea that 50 Cent is the only one holding 140 hours of footage, delusional. Prosecutors don't tip their hand early. They wait until it's strategic. And if they have even partial copies, that means they're not just reviewing past actions, they're building a conspiracy timeline. And lawyers on those tapes may need their own lawyers. Imagine waking up and seeing Netflix upload the full uncut footage. No editing, no narration, just raw Diddy tapes. It would be the biggest legal and cultural shockwave in years. Let's be brutally honest. If even 5 minutes of those 140 hours contain anything resembling obstruction, witness tampering, or unethical strategy, then Diddy's legal team isn't defending a client. They're defending themselves. And in that courtroom, your resume means nothing. Your reputation won't save you. The only thing that matters is what's on the tape. This isn't about winning a case. It's about surviving one, because the next Netflix drop might not just expose Diddy, it might end the legal careers of everyone who thought they were untouchable. So now we know this wasn't just a messy legal fallout, it was a time bomb waiting to go off. Anthony Ricco walked away because he saw what others ignored. And now, the lawyers who stayed, they might be walking straight into disbarment or indictment. What's on those tapes could end more than a case. It could end careers. So here's what I want to know. If 50 Cent drops even 5 minutes of real legal strategy footage, do you think Diddy's team survives it, or does the courtroom get flipped inside out? Let me know in the comments, and hit that subscribe button if you want updates the second Netflix or the DOJ makes their next move. This story isn't over, it's just getting started.